So the typical workday is considered to be 9 to 5 with a lunch break and multiple breaks throughout the day. So a person gets paid for around 7 hours of work a day if we include the break. The average college athlete wakes up at 6 a.m. and has either practice, warm-up, or a film session. And that takes about 3 hours. Then they have to go to class every day. After that, they have another practice or they have another game. So the typical college athlete spends as much, if not more time than the typical person spends on their job. And these athletes aren't paid for their work. It's not fair to these athletes and they deserve to be paid for what they do on the field. So first off, the revenue they produce for the school and the NCAA. Focusing on football, the average Division I college football team generates $31.9 million for their school, with some schools generating over $100 million for their school. Athletes see none of the money they earn, and people that run the school and the NCAA receive the money, just for scheduling the games and running the league. These people do deserve some of the money, but not all of it. These athletes are exploited just so the NCAA can make some money, while these athletes risk their education and health to play their game. Athletes do get scholarships, but scholarship takes away their college expenses, and they are completely on their own for their other real-life expenses. Also, these athletes basically work 2 jobs for no money. These athletes are expected to train and work as hard as professional athletes, and they're on their own for everything else, with school, studies, and everything like that. College for most students is multiple hours of classes a day, and they expect to study a few hours after that. Athletes are expected to go through these many hours, and they have 6-7 hours of practice a day. This is why student athletes are considered to be bad students, but any student with as long of a day as these kids would struggle with balancing success in the classroom and success on the field. Also, the time commitment they put in is ridiculous. The average football player has strength and conditioning every morning, plus class, plus another practice, and then they have to find time to eat, study, and sleep. They have no time to get a real job. They're busy all day, every day. They're already tired from school and training, and it's not healthy for someone to be that busy if you add a job on top of that. It hurts the athlete that they have no time for themselves to earn any spend money, and they have to struggle their way to get any food, clothes, or pay everyday expenses their scholarship doesn't provide. The athlete is expected to do well in school, but they can only do as well as they have time to study, which they aren't really given in the first place. A job would just take more time away from school, so they have to make the choice of being broke or struggle their way through school. And some people make arguments on why they shouldn't be paid, and as mentioned before, the first one, scholarships. Many feel that scholarships given the athletes enough compensation for their talents, but the scholarships pay for the kid's education, and the kid struggles their way through the 4 years of school. The scholarship that the students earn is good compensation, but they deserve more rewards, rather than just a scholarship, based on the amount of money they earn for other people. And another argument people have is athletes will get paid eventually in the professional leagues if they're good enough. This argument isn't fair because no matter how good the athlete is, they spend 12 months out of their year just playing and have no time to earn themselves any money. These athletes make no money over the 4 years, and they have no time other than just their school playing. That's all they have time to do. And only 2% of college athletes make it to the professionals, so it's not fair to the other 98% that don't go pro to waste their 4 years to make no money and to come out of college completely broke. So in conclusion, college athletes deserve to be paid. The amount of revenue they produce for the NCAA and their school is way too much for them not to earn any of the money for themselves. The amount of time these athletes put in every week prevents them from getting a job and earning any money, so they should get paid for their work on the field. Scholarships are not enough compensation for these athletes, for what they produce for the school and how much work they put in. Overall, college athletes deserve to be paid and rewarded for their hard work.